Well, hello and welcome back, and thanks for coming back. Where are we? That's what you're wondering. Well, we're up at the top of Zemeldos. That's a rather posh version of Kamara's village, so a very big connotation of properties that sits at the top of Tala, and it has a spectacular view as it looks down towards the blue Mediterranean Sea. So sit back and relax and enjoy the descent as we descend down towards Kissonerga, and you never know, we might even get to kiss the water's edge. Welcome back to Mr. Paul's Breakfast Club. Thanks for one or two of you who like to come back now and again and keep me company as I drive in and around the area known as Paphos on the island of love, which of course is Cyprus. A spectacular day, as you can see. That sky, it's blue. That sea, it's blue. Mr. Paul, he's dressed head to toe in blue. So all it's actually missing is you. Why not get yourself on one of those big birds or a canoe and start paddling like crazy? Because Cyprus, wow, it's quite simply waiting for you. So, big shout out to some of the members on the crew. We've got a girl in charge of pretty much about everything on the channel known as Marika and me. Her name is Dame Anne. Sitting next to her is the superstar, and of course her name is Miss Anna Starr, the greatest lawyer in downtown Poland, and she's the girl in charge of all of the legalities on the little channel known as Marika and me. She makes sure that Mr. Paul is not making mistakes with some of the things that he says, shall we say. Sitting on their arms, hanging on for dear life, we've got the Viking Ronnie all the way out in Denmark, and of course all the way up in Bonnie, Scotland, we've got the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Ronnie Miller. Big shout out to you guys, and thanks for coming back again and again. So we're coming out of Zemeldos now. This is the posh part of Kamara's village, and now we are descending into just Kamara's village, which again is quite posh, shall we say. If you want to buy a property in here, if you're very lucky, you may find a bungalow that wants a bit of work done to it for about 300,000. But to be honest, if you want somewhere nice, you're probably going to be looking at 600, 700, and it's going to go to $1 million quite easily. So it's quite an expensive area, and luckily for me, I've got an awful lot of customers with a couple of bob who live up here, which is why we're up here. We just popped up on Bank Holiday Monday, and we stole a car, as I say, off a gentleman. He's managed to clip, well, I don't know what he clipped, but he clipped something, that's for sure, and he's left quite a lot of damage on the side of it. So we're going to fix it and bring it back in 3 or 4 days, and I'll have a good rummage around in his wallet, and he'll be very sorry indeed, that's for sure. But we'll probably see him again, because well, they like to come back again and again. Kamara's club is up there, and there's also a medical centre as well. So one of the reasons why people live here, it's got quite a good social life, and on top of that, as I say, it's got the medical centre, and of course it's very close to Paphos. 10 to 15 minutes maximum is all it's going to take you, and of course it's only about 10 to 15 minutes to Coral Bay, so not a bad place to live, is it? There we go. So we're going to take a bit of a diversion here and turn down this street, and that's a customer of mine there as well, by the way, that chappie there, and we're going to venture off down this way, because that sea, it's looking blue. Look at it, spectacular day. Wherever you may be in the world, I'm pretty sure you would like to be moseying on down, sitting on a nice little sun lounger, if your name is Shady Tree, all the way out in Norfolk. I'm sure you'd like to be on a sun lounger somewhere in downtown Paphos, kicking back and relaxing, that's for sure. And as lots and lots of other people would like to join you as well. Big shout out to the wonderful Miss Labika. Great news to hear that you bought yourself a car, Miss Labika. And to be honest, the car you've bought, a Mercedes B-Class, is a very good car indeed. When I advised you to buy a Ford Fiesta or a Corsa, I was trying to be sensible and cautious, shall we say. But the Mercedes B-Class, in my opinion, my humble opinion, is a very good car indeed. And every time I get to drive one, I always think what a comfortable car it is. And on top of all that, it's a very practical car. The only concern would be when the parts prices come in, shall we say. But hopefully you can find a good mechanic, and perhaps you can find a place with a scrapped one and get you some second-hand parts, shall we say. But in generally a very reliable car indeed as well. Whether you bought the petrol or whether you bought diesel, doesn't make much difference. So we wish you great luck with that car, Miss Labika, and we look forward to hearing of you whizzing around the lanes of Warwickshire. because that's where Miss Labika lives. And hopefully in the summer, Miss Labika, you'll get on a big bird and pop over and see us in downtown Paphos. So here we are. There's a couple of gumbarus going for a little bit of a walk in downtown Tala. So we're heading our way now from Tala. If you're wondering, Kamaras, the Melder's village, it is in the village of Tala. And we're still in Tala. And we're wiggling and waggling through the orange groves and banana groves and olive groves of Lower Tala, Midtown Tala. That's what we're going to call it. And eventually we're going to come out in Kissonerga. And then we're going to get down to the blue Mediterranean Sea and give you a view, quite simply, that is to die for. So big shout out to some of the crew members. Let's go and see who is on the sofas today. Well, Lord Richard, he's in town because he's doing a bit of maintenance on the Marika and Me website. Of course, sitting next to him is a superstar known as Lady Julie Nash, and of course huddling up to his mum, Viscount Leo, my little mate who's not that little. And they arrived in their gangster style Land Rover Defender, and it's very, very gangsterish indeed. It's up there with Shaun of the Weather fame's gangster one as well. So if you're wondering what the weather's like, by the way, you know, perhaps if your name is Miss Dawn and you've got a husband called Mr. Sean, you've got a cat called Miss Daisy and a dog called Bobo, the temperature today is in and around 22 degrees. So it's starting to, well, rise slightly. The Easter period is almost over, and normally we get a little bit of dust and a little bit of breeziness, and then slowly but surely it makes way for the summer season. And of course we all know what happens then. The temperatures go through the roof, and unfortunately along comes a bit of humidity, but it's a great place to be, that's for sure. And the sky's going to get bluer and bluer and bluer, and the sun is going to cook us, that's for sure. So for those of you who are coming out on holiday in May, June, July, August, you're going to get a great holiday, that's for sure. Even with road surfaces like this. I mean, Lady O'Caroline, if your name is Sweetness, get your bottom on a memory foam pillow. And just before you do, pour a tot or two for the man known as Nigel Big Guns. And a big shout out to the boys, yes, the twins, Double Trouble or Double Pleasure, as they now like to call themselves. Although I'm not sure, I think Double Trouble is a better terminology, I think. A couple of pains, as I call them. Lord Jeremy, Lord Simon, big shout out to you. Hope you're keeping well, and hopefully you're hopefully you finish the improvements to your apartment, and hopefully you're not lumping beds and mattresses upstairs, because just to upset you, Jizzlin Deborah is not coming. She's not coming this week anyway. There we are. So here we are, wiggling our way through the, well, what should we call this? The farmland, field lands, I suppose you'd call them. There's lots of farming going on in Cyprus, and oranges and olives and all those kind of things going on. And as we start to transcend down lower, you'll start to see more and more, well, farming, for want of a better word, and the odd house getting built as well. Nice house getting built on the left hand side there. Perhaps it's a farmer's daughter, probably. Don't know what that's growing there, I'm not sure what they are. That's some sort of pineapples, I think they are. Yes, I think they are. There we are. See? So if you want a pineapple, this could be the place to come. Now you're wondering, how the hell does Mr. Paul know where the hell he is? Well, I've been up and down these roads for 15 years, and there's not a road in Paphos that I don't know. So there we are. We're now in Kissonerga, and the road services have not got any better, if you're wondering. And we're slowly going to work our way. Excuse me, I just died. There we go. Just died a little bit for you on camera. And we're going to wind our way through, and we are going to come out in the village of Kissonerga, and then we're going to slowly descend down towards, well, the CU Beach Bar, because you're going to get a great view of the blue Mediterranean Sea from there. That is for sure. So big shout out to some of the stars that fund the channel. If you wonder how the channel is funded, well, there's a little thing called Buy Me a Coffee, and what people do is they click through to our About page, they find the little icon that says Buy Me a Coffee, and they click on that once or twice, and it keeps us afloat. It keeps us in coffees in the morning, and of course it allows us to pop that thing called fuel into the benzene tank, and allows us to drive around and continue to make these videos especially for you. And if there's a special video that you want, drop in the comments. Again, 2 or 3 coffees, and guess what, that video will be coming very soon indeed. Look at that for a view. That sea is blue, that's for sure. Let's just wiggle to the left a little bit. It's very difficult. It's not. Well, it's not difficult to get lost, obviously, but I think it is. Even if you're a foreigner on your first trip to Paphos and you hire a car and you go off onto these lanes, remember it's a very, very small place, and normally from wherever you are you can see the blue Mediterranean Sea. So if you can see that sea, all you've got to do is work your way to that sea, and guess what? You're not going to be far from home. So it's a very, very small place. Now I understand as it goes dark, perhaps you can lose your orientation, but again, get yourself down to the blue Mediterranean Sea, and you're always going to find your home. I remember, well, it's happened once or twice now as time's gone on. I've been flagged down a couple of times by people on red-plated cars, which of course normally means tourists, and they've been lost. And they've been in Coral Bay and can't get their way back to Paphos. Or I remember there was a chappie in Kissonerga once and couldn't get his way back to Paphos. So I remember on that occasion I said, well, just follow me, I'm going back to Paphos. So, but it's a small place, so don't be thinking you can get lost. You can't. Here we go. Signpost that says Kissonerga, 1 kilometre, and that's where we're going. So let's take a right. Again, we're in some orange groves, and there's some, what are those there? Olives, aren't they? Olives on that side, and these are bananas in the blue bags on the right hand side. So plenty of fresh fruit around if you want to reappropriate some of it. And don't be thinking you can't. In Cyprus there's not a problem. You can stop your car and nip out and get a couple of oranges, get some olives and get a couple of bananas, and no one's going to say anything to you. It's something that's accepted, as long as you don't turn up with a lorry. Well, this chap here, although I think it's his lorry and it's his processing plant coming up, so that's all right. If you look carefully now, you'll see that's one of the fruit processing plants around this area, so that's the local farmer. There's 2 more of his lorries. There we go. So often when you're in the supermarket and you're buying the produce, you'll understand that it's very, very local. Normally it's from just down the road, or perhaps it's from just down the road in Limassol, but there's not that much that's imported, not in the summer anyway. Perhaps in the winter we do have to import 1 or 2 things, but most of the produce, from the fruit to the vegetables, is grown in the fields surrounding Paphos and Limassol, and a lot of it is in Larnaca as well, especially a lot of the meat processing is in Larnaca, and the milk. So there we go. That was a bit of a bump, wasn't it? There we are. If you're wondering why the roads are quiet, well, like I say, it's the Easter weekend and a lot of people are hanging out with their family and, well, eating souvla. Whether it be pork or chicken or a mix, who knows, but pork and souvla, some potatoes and some fresh vegetables now and again, and perhaps a glass of Zavania or 2. Here we are. This is Kissonerga. We're on the extremities of the village, and we're going to work our way out towards the blue Mediterranean Sea and finish on a spectacular view, which is what we try to do on the drive around videos, shall we say. So here we go. We're going to descend that little bit, and slowly but surely you are going to start to see the blue Mediterranean Sea in all of its spectacality and all of its glory, because it really is a spectacular day today. There's a smell in the air, and it's not me, shall we say. It's the smell of summer, I think. I think summer is finally breaking through, and it's going to be kissing us for several months to come, that's for sure. So I'm going to say thanks for watching, and if you do like what you see, please hit the like, click subscribe, and perhaps consider coming back for that little bit more of my complete and utter madness. That is the blue Mediterranean Sea, and that is Coral Bay in the distance on a truly spectacular day, and we'll see you very, very soon. Thanks for watching. Wow, I don't think it can get much better than that. Feast your eyes and digest. Oh no, traffic lights are coming up. We'll see you in the next one.